explaining about the issue of forex crisis, overhead, energy costs, very unfriendly business environment, and some of them leaving the country outright, some of them divesting, some of them selling their stake. Again, troubling times, we must say, as far as the economy of Nigeria is concerned. So the first focus on the show this evening would have to be the economy of the country, economic crisis. President Bola Ahmed Tinubu has inaugurated an economic council, 31-man presidential, more like a steering committee. And he also announced a 2 trillion naira intervention, to stimulate the economy again. That will be done. I think the money will be spent within a period of 6 months, again, to stimulate the economy. So
which part of the economy?
Well, again, there's a breakdown. There's really a breakdown of how the 2 trillion naira will be spent. How the 2 trillion naira will be spent. So we're going to look at that really. And the question basically on the roundtable this evening, as far as the plan of the president is concerned, is that, look, can this new plan work? This is not the first time we are hearing of plans from the president. I think last year he had about 2 broadcasts where he laid out different plans on how to ensure food sufficiency, how to tackle food insecurity, and what have you. But we've not seen anything really. Different interventions have been announced by the president. Of course, we have the CNG conversation. We have a whole lot about agriculture. We've had different palliatives. So many things that have been announced in the past by the president. But nothing seems to have worked. Things keeps getting worse off. Of course, several interventions by the CBN has not also helped the naira. It keeps dropping. The value keeps dropping against the dollar. I think today we're still at well over 1,500 naira to a dollar. So this new plan of the president, this economic, presidential economic committee, and the 2 trillion naira intervention, to stimulate the economy. The simple question is, can this new plan work? Is it going to be different from all the other plans that have been announced by this government or its predecessors when it comes to rescuing the country from its economic doldrums? So that will be the first issue on the roundtable this evening. The second issue, we have to go to Edo State. That's the home state of Joseph Olorunsho. There was some form of anxiety, panic, confusion in the fold of the PDP. When during the week, I think on Thursday, the Federal High Court in Abuja nullified, quote and unquote now, the PDP governorship primary on the basis of, some delegates being exempted from the process. There's been a lot of interpretation. Again, when it comes to court rulings in Nigeria now, lawyers leave the courtroom interpreting the same thing in different ways, getting everybody confused. But again, anxiety, confusion in the PDP over court ruling nullifying the governorship primary, and we're asking ourselves, how much of a setback is this for candidate of the PDP, Ighodalo? Is this a setback? Is this a temporary setback? Some analysts have said that, look, it's too close for comfort. The elections are in September, and you shouldn't be having judgments like this or cases like this, hovering around your candidature as a politician or as a candidate. So, but we're going to ask ourselves, really, is this a setback? Or, like the PDP has said, there's really nothing to worry. The last issue, would have to be the issue of insecurity. Insurgency seems to have returned. The Northeast, we had, the case of suicide bombings that killed a number of Nigerians, quite a number of Nigerians. I say a number because, again, when we have official figures, you have to check and recheck, really. I think while we were having the show last week, this was happening. The details of this suicide bombing of innocent Nigerians in Borno State. The news was being reported as we speak today. Some of our colleagues in the north have also been kidnapped. We have the report that some journalists have been kidnapped in Kaduna State as we speak. I think 2 of them and some other people and their families have been kidnapped as we speak. So the state of insecurity is also one issue I think we should focus on the roundtable this evening. And there's an interesting statement coming from the man that should also be part of what is supposed to be the efforts to secure Nigerians. We're talking about the Chief of Army Staff, General Taoreed Lagbada, who is saying that LG Autonomy will solve insecurity and stop all these kidnapping killings in Nigeria. And so we will just tie this question to what he has said. What's the way out, really? Is it just about LG autonomy? Are we helpless? What exactly is going on as far as insecurity is concerned in Nigeria? Well, it's a full house. We have Joseph Olorunso, the birthday boy, in the studio. Today is the birthday of Joseph Olorunso. He's brought a package for us. After the show, we'll do the needful. Congratulations, Joseph Olorunso. Happy birthday to you.
Thank you very much for the lowest altitude.
but it's a good day, really. We wish you all the best, really, as you celebrate your birthday today. We also have Barrister Curtis Adigba in the studio. Good evening, Barrister.
Thanks for having me, and good evening.
All right, and then we have N2trn Adigmero in the studio.
Good evening.
All right, so it's a full house, and we're going to go straight into the issue. But before we go straight into the issue, let's take a break. We'll be right back.
In this budget that Yari presented to you, I have facts, constituency by constituency.
Get ready for the ultimate political showdown every Sunday at 6 p.m. Join the dynamic Fuad Sahid, the trusted guide through the maze of politics and current affairs. Political Roundtable,
where the sharpest mind dissect the hottest topic shaping our world today.
Don't miss out on the conversation everyone will be talking about.
Join Fuad Sahid as he dives deep into the heart of the matters, exploring the issues that matters most to you.
And there is no subsidy in that sector, according to the government. So what you have, and the government is very reluctant to accept this, that we are funding the discos, they are cash strapped. And so the government is trying to raise money for them. And that is why...
Tune in to Political Roundtable every Sunday at 6 p.m. only on Mainland 98.3 FM. Political Roundtable, where politics meets passion. Stay informed, stay engaged.
Mainland 98.3 FM, the sound of Lagos.
All right, we are back, and it's still Political Roundtable, Mainland 98.3 FM. Yeah, let's just go straight to business, like I said. And the first issue would have to be the issue of economic crisis. President Bola Ahmed Tinubu Inaugurates Economic Council, 2 trillion intervention as more multinationals exit Nigeria. Can this new plan work? President Bola Ahmed Tinubu on Thursday inaugurated the Presidential Economic Coordinating Council, the acronym PECC, tasked with strategizing a way out of the current economic situation in the country. The council has a mix of government officials, top private sector players, and consultants, including President of the Dangote Industries Limited, Alhaji Aliko Dangote, Chairman of the United Bank of Africa, Mr. Tony Elumelu, and the Chief Executive Officer of the Financial Derivatives Company Limited, Mr. Bismarck Rewan. Is always in every of the committee in recent time. Briefing State House correspondents after the inauguration of the council, Minister of Finance and Coordinating Minister of the Economy, Mr. Wale Adun, said the council is to meet and report to the president monthly. So it's going to be a monthly thing now. According to Edun, President Tinubu presented the PECC with the outcomes of his Accelerated Stability, Stabilization and Advancement Plan, which is an emergency plan to cover the next 6 months. Mr. Edun said that the plan involves a 2 trillion naira package aimed at stabilizing the economy, and it includes, the 2 trillion, 350 billion for health and social welfare, 500 billion naira for agriculture and food security, 500 billion naira for energy and the power sector, and another 650 billion for what is called general business support. Of course, Dangote Lumelu have said that, this is a very laudable plan by the president, and they expect that this would help to galvanize the economy again. For people who have been saying who are the 31 members of the committee, they include the Senate President Godswill Akpabio, the Speaker of the House of Representatives Tajuddin Abbas, Chairman of the Nigerian Governors Forum, Abdurrahman Abdurazak, that's the governor of Kwara State. We have 12 ministers, also part of this 31-member committee, and the governor of the Central Bank of Nigeria, Mr. Olayemi Kadoso. Members of the organized private sector include Dr. Dangote, Alhaji Abdul Samad Rabiu, Ms. Amina Maina, Mr. Shegun Ajayi Kadri, Dr. Funke Opeke, Dr. Doyin Salami, of course, someone I know very well, Mr. Patrick Okigbo, Mr. Kola Adeshino, Mr. Shegun Agbaje, Mr. Chidi Ajairi, Mr. Abdul Kadri Aliu, and Mr. Rashid Sarumi. I'm going to start with you, Mr. Curtis Adigba. This is over a year. The president's subsidy is gone, floating of the naira, aggressive revenue drive, the palliative economy, 2 billion or 5 billion to the governors, a whole lot of interventions, restructuring the energy sector, the CNG conversation, food sufficiency. There was also the plan to release grains from the National Reserve. I don't know whether anybody saw any grain anywhere. So it's been a lot of talk, a lot of promises. Can this new plan work?
Before I answer that question, let me make a disclaimer. I have no degree or postgraduate degree in economics or economics, as some of you will understand. But I do understand economy from the point of view of my own pocket and my own situation and those of my friends that I have to interact with daily.
So on that basis, you want to make this okay.
So having said that, I think it's also important that Nigerians now understand that instead of all the labeling of those who come out to say things are bad in the country, now the president for the first time is facing up to the reality, admitting that indeed
things are not looking
the Nigerian economy is in troubled waters and that something needed to be done urgently, right? So to that I said to him, Mr. President, thank you for admitting the obvious. We are no longer at the point where so many people are coming out to lie to us. Now, that's one. Number two, you then look at the same set of players. Apart from, and this is one of the reasons why policies in our government do fail from time to time. Because you do not use the ideas that failed yesterday
again
to solve more complex problems of today. Well, when you look at that,
so when it was not as complex as this, the idea failed.
Yes.
You're now bringing it up again when it's
to
now
solve a more complex
problem.
Look at the list that we just read out. Apart from, even Bismarck is not a new name.
Yeah.
It was in the council that
Buhari set up.
Yeah, it's always been there.
Now, each time government had to set up a committee to intervene, you have the same set of people who are occupying different positions in government, and you begin to ask yourself, why were
appointed in the first place?
No, and why were they not able to use their positions to proffer these solutions?
So being a member of the committee, would it change anything?
Exactly. It's another bureaucracy. Okay, so let's break it down. Tunde Elumelu, Dangote, Abu Samad,
Rabiu.
These are all part of the economic problem we have in the country. And they also have been part of the solution. So they're not going to bring any idea that is new or idea that will favor almost everybody in the country. It's just still going to be tailored towards the successes
of their businesses.
Now, when you look at Akpabio, as the president of the Senate, the speaker of the House of Representatives, 12 cabinet ministers, Mr. Edu himself, apart from doing Salami, was part of the Buhari.
Of course, economic team, committee.
You still have the same set of people coming with the same set of ideas.
Abbas, speaker.
Meanwhile, this could have been handled better if the president had taken over the country, the infrastructure of government, the structure of government, and everything, sat down, formed a committee that would then draw up an economic blueprint
before announcing some of his policies.
He should have approached some of these critical economic policies. He didn't do that. On the first day, he announced that subsidy regime was gone, and then they floated the dollar.
Immediately.
And that's why we're having this problem. So when you talked about multinationals leaving the country, where are they living? One, they cannot attract business anymore into the country. They cannot take funds out of the country back to their home countries. They cannot evacuate their profits
here.
Okay? Two, you have a situation whereby before now, many of them were going in between public power supply and the generating sets. And you see, why they could cushion the lack of public power supply by buying diesel and powering their generators. Now, what has happened since this government took over is that you now even have the cost of electricity more expensive
than you running on generators.
So it has eaten deeply into their profit margin. It means that these companies have become completely inefficient in terms of management and every other thing. So if they can find other locations, and then the insecurity,
another issue.
About 2 weeks ago, the Fuani brothers were kidnapped on the high sea.
Those are also foreign investors,
These are foreign investors. And this news is, if you are in America or in Europe or anywhere, these are the things you hear. Now, let's come home to what this will do.
This committee.
You know, good intentions are mostly found in the cemeteries in Africa. Our problem has not been lack of good
ideas
or ideas. Our problems have been implementation. You see, Mr. President has listed what these funds will be used for. But I can tell you here that not up to 20%
of this amount will be used for what it has been.
Yes. Majority of it will end up in private pockets. And we don't have a system that is effective in fighting corruption. Look, we keep sending people for trials in our courts for corruption. Now, many of them come out, you know, the court said, oh, we can't find any evidence against them.
Technicalities,
and all that. But the fact is that the funds are disappearing.
So when a case goes to court, whether you like it or not, something is missing somewhere.
Something is missing somewhere. It's just that the problem is that we cannot prove that even though it's missing, it's Mr. A or B that took them.
Which causes maybe technicalities sometimes.
Which has been the challenge. Now, and we only have problem with that when it has to do with the big man.
The big monsters.
Who is loaded and understands the system. When it's a poor, small man, it takes only a few hours for him to be convicted and sent to Kirikiri. Even when there's no evidence.
You know, you have the EFCC celebrating convictions of a lot of Yahoo boys. But the big monsters have.
The Yahoo boys don't have any defense. They cannot walk the system. You know, and all that. So why this is a good idea? Because you see, conventional wisdom suggests that when there is a depression in an economy, government spends more money to stimulate and float the same economy. In other words, government is generating economic activities. In other parts of the world, you hear government awarding contracts for different kind of roads, infrastructure, federal roads and all that. But you know, the things that work in other places don't work here.
So we shouldn't be too excited about this 2 trillion naira.
So it's not about how huge the amount of money is. It's about how huge our attitude is
to implementing some of these things.
Implement this issue. That's it.
Okay. Well, thank you so much, Mr. Kotsari. I'm still, again, I look at this, the membership of this committee, Nuruddin Adegbenro. You have Alhaji Aliko Dangote, a very quiet businessman, you know, been doing a lot of wonderful work in the past. But in recent time, especially since he built that refinery, he's moved from being the very quiet Alhaji Aliko Dangote to now a man that talks everywhere. You know, it's now almost like continuous tale of lamentations. At some point, he even said that he regretted ever building that refinery. He talked about the mafia in the oil sector being more powerful than the drug cartels. Recently, too, he also talked about the CBN idea of always pushing up the interest rate to fight inflation. And basically what he said that, look, there's no way you're going to stimulate any economy by having your interest rate at 30% and above. It's not going to happen. You're going to be killing businesses. You're going to be losing jobs and what have you. Now he's a member of the presidential committee. Mr. Yemi Cardoso, the man leading, you know, the institution that keeps pushing up the interest rate, is also a member of that committee. Do you think that, look, whatever they have been saying, at different levels can now be harmonized, so that we can have a more coordinated, convergence of ideas when it comes to how to manage our economy. So basically what I'm saying is that, look, would it be easy for Alhaji Aliko Dangote now to sit Cardoso down and tell him, hey, whatever you guys are doing at the CBN with the interest rate is actually killing businesses, not solving any problem. So do you think that, look, it's nice to bring all of these big guys to the table and begin to now fashion out a way out of our economic crisis, since it's now going to be like a monthly report to the president? Are you optimistic?
When I saw, in fact, I did not even read this snippets of it in the media. The one that I read so much is the one issued by Ighodalo.
Yeah, the presidential.
Because that one is well robust. I could see it. Look, if you look at the number, it's 31-man committee.
Committee, yes.
Check the numbers. The politicians are more than the businessmen.
The so-called economic experts.
Yes, look at it now. When you have a president is there, or is the chairman of that committee. Senate president is there, speaker is there. Then you have chairman of governors forum is there. 12 members of the cabinet, ministers, and also the governor of central bank. Then apart of all these businessmen too, for instance now, for me, somebody like there are some of those called businessmen that they are much of a politician for them to be in that than be a businessman. Now, I won't be able to even shout because what president want to achieve with that trillions,
2 trillion.
I'm telling you, don't forget there is a budget for this ministry that these challenges are coming from.
But this are special intervention.
I understand.
Funds,
what I'm saying is this: there are budgets,
appropriations
for the ministry that these challenges are coming from.
But Nurudin will always say that appropriations does not mean the monies are available.
I agree. Don't forget that in the last 8 years, at the end of every year, every minister has never told us. What they just told us is generally how they've been able to be effective with the budget, and they'll give us percentage. They don't come out that, okay, for my ministry, they gave me 2 trillion naira. We spent 2 trillion naira is what we'll be able to get.
Like a budget breakdown, really.
They won't give us. Now, look at it for instance now. President really wants to look at some certain areas, especially in the area of energy. The energy yesterday, our grid also collapsed.
Yes.
Okay.
To 75.
75.
The president said
that people in Alimosho
is a shame, an embarrassment.
Okay. So
but the grid is back. It has been restored.
Yes.
Yeah.
But to which
I think this year alone it has collapsed like 4 or 5 times.
No, yes, now this is the 5th time.
Yeah, this year alone.
President said he wants a situation in which our gigabytes is going to move from 4.5 to 6 within 6 months. What we cannot do.
Yeah, the details. Yeah, I like the details now.
So by the time you look at it, it's a tall order.
To 6.
What is a tall order? What we've not been able to do from 1999 till date, but president wants to do it in 6 months.
Can we wait? Don't you think we should give him the benefit of?
There are some certain things that are obviously so now.
Because again, like this, increasing our oil production to 2 million barrels per day.
The one of 2 million barrels.
Yes.
Look, we can do that, but the thing that is drawing us back is already still drawing us back. Number one, don't forget that all those modular refineries will have assisted us. Look, if you have a compound filled with oranges and you have like close to 1,000 students or pupils along with you, do you know that if each of the people is carrying 5 before you know it.
But Nurudin, wait, let's take it from here, because again, I for the first time I just want to give the president that opportunity to do this. It's 6 months. This intervention is going to come. It was the money.
But refinery is over 6 months now. It has not been delivered.
Maybe you see again.
This government has a deficit. They have trust deficit. It's so obvious from day one. Look. From the beginning. Okay, look at it for instance now. Somebody on the first day said subsidy is gone, but that subsidy is still existing from May 29 last year till as we speak.
Yes, Barrister Curtis.
I think the problem here is that this government is very high on promises.
Yeah.
Very low on deliverables. That's the problem. You see, the president has good intentions, but we have said that good intentions themselves don't guarantee progress.
Yes.
You have to translate the good intention into action for the people to see. Do you understand?
I'm with you, sir.
Now, you mentioned, I think, 500 billion for the energy sector.
Yes.
What are they going to? Which one now? Because we have discourse.
So, which of the value chain? Is it the generation, transmission, or distribution?
Exactly.
Where exactly are we putting these monies?
As I speak to you, like I told you guys here, I'm in Bandit A. But I
it's banned, actually.
Well, I hardly have up to 15 hours of light. I'm telling you this. But I'm still paying the premium that I'm paying.
Your tariff has also gone up.
No, yes, my tariff has gone up.
From, I think, 206 to 209.
Yes.
Kilowatt per hour.
Exactly.
Just like that.
The point we are making here is that, yes, this president may have good intention. But how does he translate this into real progress and action for the people? Like we talked about the names. Is there anybody there capable of bringing fresh ideas?
Because I look at it.
Apart from Professor
this was the president that brought the largest cabinet ever from 1999 till date. And of course, you have people calling some of his appointees the egg heirs, these brilliant minds, the guys that are going to come. I remembered how he spoke glowingly about Yemi Cardoso. Oh, this is these are the master strategies.
Just oppose that with what Senator Adams Oshomole said.
He's saying
in the Senate. So look, the point for me here is that where is the new thinking coming from?
That's
the committee. Where is the new thinking going to come from? Because you still have the predominant group in this committee
that have been taking decisions
are still members of the government and members of the government who in their different capacities.
Because let's break it down by Sir Curtis so that people understand what we're saying.
Yes.
Now, 12 ministers. So that means from day one of this government, they've been sitting and taking decisions with the president.
That's it.
You have the Senate president.
Correct.
You have the speaker.
Yes.
Then you also have Yemi Cardoso,
the CBN governor.
The CBN governor. So
who is in charge of monetary policy.
These are the guys.
So you then want to ask why these same people cannot bet their ideas.
Can this committee change anything?
No, this is what I'm saying.
At the FEC level, they can't even do
anything. It's going to be more of the same. You see, when Africans have problem, they create more structures
to create more problems.
To create more structures to create more problems. You saw how the Buhari economic team didn't have any, because you see, other than the few or 2, 3 or 4 individuals that came from outside,
decisions,
every other person was part of the government. The secretary of the government, who is an integral part of the government, was there.
Because I look at it, if at the FEC meeting, administerial briefings, where I expect that ministers are going to be bringing proposals, ideas. Look, apart from ministers, we have special advisors.
Yes.
I think there's this young lady for the oil sector. I've forgotten her name.
The way they rated
somebody completely different.
Even on technology.
That does not mean she might not be talented or knowledgeable.
Yes.
But the results.
No, it's not even a result. The fact is, the simple question to us is that are ideas percolating? Those who take the idea from
are they taking it and are they?
Let me even. There are some people that will even will be afraid of her becoming too influential in this government. What you find in our government is tough fighting. Even people who have no ideas about what is going on, they want to be relevant by fighting to install themselves in the position so they can be visible. So she might even become a threat to some people who feel, if you listen to this girl,
she withdraws time. So you might even have appointees who withdraw into their shells.
Yes.
They want to avoid trouble.
Of course.
Yes.
Look, I was talking to somebody very high in the last government who told me that when you bring an idea, it has to be filtered through some powerful people in the villa. And if those people don't like you,
your idea,
they don't like the idea.
They don't even like you.
If they don't like
they don't like your idea.
No matter the idea you bring, it's not going to fly anywhere. You recall what Okonjo Iweala said?
Yeah.
About how she had questioned certain things in the presidency. And she got a call from a powerful guy in the presidency telling her not to question that anymore. And when she continued, what happened? She brought in the IMF president, managing director of IMF, who was, as a VIP, was supposed to use a particular gate to go and see Mr. President. She was told to go through the normal gate, where she will have to pass so many
security
gates
checks. Yeah.
before she can get to that of the president. And then she called on people to intervene, and nobody intervened until it got to Mr. President himself. So it's not that we don't have brilliant people in government, but are their ideas being used by those who are supposed to take these ideas? That's one. Now, what we have and what we know is that there is nothing new and Akpabio we bring to the Economic Council meeting.
Maybe because he's the leader of the Senate.
If he's the leader of the Senate, if the policies are well articulated, and what we then need is a law to back that policy, the president can use his political.
So not to have him sit down on a committee, sit on a committee.
The work is even the work we elected him to do.
He has not.
He's even struggling with that.
Because he would have to create time to sit on this committee.
So what you do is that the president has got a lot of political, what did I call it?
Instruments.
No, capital.
Capital. Okay.
With this National Assembly, someone like Akpabio needs to sit in the National Assembly when the policies are articulated, and they need laws to back these policies. You then go to him. He doesn't have to leave his job at the National Assembly and join the Economic Council.
Well, maybe in 6 months some of these policies will start to come. So he takes it, he already has it, and then can run with it to the National Assembly.
Let me throw this one to you. Under health and social welfare.
Yes.
The president wants a situation.
Yes.
Where medicine is going to be available at lower cost for 80 to 90 million Nigerians within 6 months.
You see a lot. Look, I want you to. Maybe you should do us this favor of reading out, the details of these four interventions.
Yes.
Because in those details, Mr. Curtis, you have millions of
yes.
how do you want to do it? Remember that the same thing we've always said about promises of government and the missing hours. How do you actually want to achieve this? When you're talking about affordable drugs, medicine to 80 million Nigerians.
Emzo is there. You can give Emzo to produce for you.
No. Some of the pharmaceutical companies are leaving. They've left. So where
are you going to subsidize import?
That's what we're saying. Are you going to relax import duty?
Even if you subsidize import, it's different from buying it at lower rate.
Let me allow Nuruddin give us the details.
You know what I say to people don't understand that we don't draw any joy from coming here every Sunday to criticize the government.
Yes.
We actually want to celebrate achievements.
What we are doing here is a cry out for help from our president. Say, this is the problem we are facing.
Come on,
it's not that, you see, look, and because we are privileged to speak on behalf of others, that's why we make this.
Because everybody can be in the studio. All Nigerians can be in the studio, yes.
The fact is that what the Mr. President intends to do is good. He has good intentions. But the same set of people that are in government, the same set of people that are ravishing our economy. In fact, one of them openly said, you cannot build the kind of business I built in Nigeria if you don't have influence in government.
Yes.
Because some of these things, you don't get them on merit.
You can't.
He said so.
But Oga Fuad,
yes.
I think the government know their audience. They know their customer. They know that whatever they throw
at the
to
people,
us, we take it. I'm not a football fan, but this team, this committee, it's like playing a football. They now say they want to change number 5. Is it last man you call him? He raised the person that is coming out from the team number 5.
So the same person
now raise the number 5 again.
That is coming in.
You don't move around and enter back to the
and come again.
Okay.
So you change the player is coming in again. The same player.
On energy.
So let's take it from the first one.
Okay, yeah. On energy,
health
security.
and social welfare. On health and social welfare. The details now.
Here is.
Let's just summarize. Yes.
Okay. On health and social welfare.
Yes.
To make essential medicine available at lower cost.
Okay.
For 80 to 90 million Nigerians.
Okay.
Expand healthcare insurance coverage for 1 million vulnerable people via vulnerable group fund in collaboration with state governments.
Okay, so that's for health.
Yeah.
So
Redeploy. Okay,
still on
let's
health.
have like 2 more. Redeploy 20,000 healthcare workers to provide services to 10 to 12 million patients in the area where they are most urgently needed.
We're just throwing figures around.
How many health workers we have in Nigeria that we are going to move 20,000 of them to a particular area? How many that remains?
To areas where people are vulnerable.
They're going to use COAS.
Okay.
Then
power up
Okay.
4,000
what?
800 primary healthcare centers, PHCs, second tier and third tier hospital using renewable energy sources.
Abia.
And under energy.
Yes, energy now.
Under energy and security, what they said is also different from the last one that I mentioned. They said that this initiative, what they want to do is that they want it includes power, oil and gas. Then their aim is basically increase
everything put together on the energy and power sector.
Increase on grid electricity to be delivered to homes and businesses from about 4.5 gigawatts to 6 gigawatts in 6 months.
So they want to move from 4,000 megawatts to 6,000 megawatts. That's what they're saying. Yeah.
Then increase oil production to 2 million barrels per day within the next 12 months.
We are still doing about 1.3, 1.4 million barrels. So in 6 months, we want to do 2 million barrels. Good.
Then remove barriers to entry for investment into the sector. That means energy sector, oil sector, gas sector, to enhance competitiveness.
Okay.
Then the agriculture.
Okay. Which is people like Prince Wires will be interested in that.
Agriculture and food security.
Yes.
The president said he wants to increase stable crops grown by small holders farmers from 1 to 127 million metric ton in 2023 to 135 million metric ton this year.
All right.
For me,
these are beautiful headliners.
No, for me, the person that helped them to write this agenda. Award. The person needs an award. Let them give him an award. And I believe they are still holding balance. They should quickly pay him because the person do fantastic job
in writing, getting us excited.
Yes. But the issue now is this. Let's look at the one of food.
Yes.
You want to give someone. Is it the people that cannot go to their places of farm? That insecurity is ravaging everywhere that you now say they should go back.
I'm even surprised that security chiefs are not part of this committee.
They equally talk of issue of energy. Maybe because Kola Adesina is there.
Maybe what of the NSA? Is the NSA in that list?
No,
I'm surprised that it's not on that list.
And they don't forget that we can't have food security without them.
Security in the country.
Without them.
Now, for me, look at the Senate president.
Yes.
I was just thinking that he would be busy to look at the law that can actually assist business operation. For I do know that I have someone that will have a case in industrial courses 2018. That case never come, I think, up to 3 times. This is a business. These are people that have business interests here.
And their cases are there court, for years.
Industrial court, and they are thinking of, they should better forget about the issue. So, for me, okay, look at Kwara State. The Kwara State governor is supposed to be busy to see what he can do to move the economic
do you know that the industrial court has issued injunction against labor overnight?
When it comes to labor matters,
within few hours.
You cannot protest.
You can't protest.
Government will go there.
Ex parte order. You can't go on strike.
And yet your poor man.
A foreign investor has a case there
that have billions of naira.
I'm not talking of billions.
And it's employers of labor that is going to be employing our own brothers and sisters.
So this guy is going to employ thousands of people. There are some gray area, and the matter went to court.
And I'm talking pending in court for years.
Sometimes they say the judge went to seminar, the judge is sick, the father is having a birthday, and
let me give you my own personal experience about how things.
The bureaucracies, the bottlenecks,
I have a friend who brought in some Koreans and Japanese. We're looking for 2,000 hectares of land to farm cassava and okra for export.
God.
It took them to a community where they met with the elders. All the elders signed the paper for the land. Now, what were these people going to give back to the community? They were going to build schools. They were going to employ people from the community.
Actually, they would have paid for the land, too.
They were going to pay for the land, and they were going to employ people from the community. Work with them on the farm. So everything agreed. Now went to the local government chairman. The local government chairman asked them, what is in need for me? And they said, Mr. Chairman, everything that we have listed here is for you. Because it's your community.
These are your people.
He said, okay, give me some space, let me talk with my people. And then he sent one of them to them and say, you guys are not serious, you don't know what you are talking about. So they left that community, went to another community where they got the land, bought vehicles for the elders of the community, gave scholarship to people and all that. Look, this is the kind of thing you find in our country. And this attitude percolates even into every level of our government. When you go and talk to people about serious things, the business people who have access to government are talking about policies that will favor their direct businesses, personal
not
businesses.
generality of Nigerians.
Yes, you know how the late Prime Minister of Singapore talked about when he came to Nigeria for, I think it was a Commonwealth or something summit, where he met the flamboyant politician who happened to be the Minister of Finance in the country then. And the man was telling him that he has just banned importation of shoes. And Lee Kuan Yew asked him why. He said, because I've started a shoe factory.
Just about his own interest.
Yes. No. And he said, well, but in my own country, this will be corruption. And the man said, well,
because of vested interest. Yeah.
It's not.
Because I have a shoe factory, so I have to ban importation of shoes.
Yes, so that my factory can do well. And this is what we are saying. Now, you're talking about stimulating the economy. Okay? And you have listed out these laudable goals. Again, the question is,
very beautiful.
Who will translate these goals into reaction and progress for the people? The same people you have in government and their counterparts in the business world. And then the question is, okay, if not them, who else? But I believe that in a country of over 200 million people, you can always find fresh talent.
Yeah.
You remember one of the problems that the Buhari government also had was the fact that anytime they needed to do something, they set up a committee headed by the secretary to the government, minister of this, minister of
people
that.
From the same cabinet trying to solve the problem that they've been appointed to solve.
These same people, look, were hired and given
to solve the problem.
To solve this problem.
So at that level, they can't solve it. You set up a committee. They still head the committee to try to solve it.
Paid on allowance from both
sides.
Of course. Even without setting up this committee, one of the best economists in this country, globally recognized, is Doyin Salami.
Yes, Dr. Doyin Salami.
Who, in fact, has been wanting to head the central bank as the governor. I know that at one point under Buhari, he was supposed to be minister. He turned it down because he said, as Minister of Finance, he can't do much.
There are too much bureaucracies.
But as CBN governor,
I can pull some strings, some real strings.
Well, he didn't get it because of politics. Do you understand? And so now you bring that
as a member of the committee now.
Look at even
Bismarck Rewani.
Bismarck Rewani. He's been going around and talking about the things that are wrong. But you see, what we fail to understand in this country is that while we promote these big goals
and ideas,
the low-hanging fruits are there. You don't measure the welfare of an economy by the bigger goals.
Yeah.
But by the simple things. The survivor instinct. Look, the ability of the ordinary man to survive within that economy. That's what you do. Well, last week we were talking about the British elections.
Elections, yeah.
You know why there was a bloodbath for the Conservatives?
It was a complete
because of the rate of inflation and how living had become
very difficult for the people. Yes. And so the polls were just to deal.
12 cabinet ministers lost their position. They were defeated. They are not even coming back to the parliament. Not to talk about being shadow anything. They are not coming.
They are not even coming back.
So I would rather advise Mr. President that some of this committee, because you know this committee, they are going to draw huge resources.
Surely
sitting allowances and all that. And at the end of the day, they're still going to produce the same.
But I'm like, what really are they going to say that because we can't?
See, look at the issue of the drugs, for instance. You want to bring in cheaper drugs,
make drugs affordable for 80 million Nigerians.
The Minister of Health handle that.
That's what I'm saying. That is there anything new? Maybe the Minister of Health will be. There are 12 ministers here.
Yes, I mean, but can't he?
He can't do it
with his directors, with his special advisors,
and even if he needs to work with the president.
He should do that.
That's what is done in other places. that ministry will articulate the policy.
Are we just a committee people for the sake of getting people? The idea of motion without movement. Oh, we should be seen to be doing something. Is that what we are seeing here?
We love committees, and we have come to in this country anything that, the committee is like
committee.
The committee is like a village goat. It does not have an owner. And it dies from starvation because A thinks that B is feeding, B thinks that A is feeding.
So they just leave it to wander around.
So any problem you don't want to solve in Africa,
set up a committee.
Give it to committee.
but
do you know? If you look at it, we will continue this way. And for me, the reason is, anytime you see a nation or a group of people that they will set exam, score themselves, and release the results,
you should be careful.
You should be careful because I will bet you this committee, they are going to tell us their result in advance.
But the results should actually show
they
the
are not
living standard
concerned about your own result. You that is feeling
no. It has to be our result. But Sakoti says something that, look, we might not have the biggest of degrees as an economist. I'm not going to be sitting on the same table, for example, discussing the economy with Dr. Doyin Salami. Of course, from the Lagos Business School, it's globally recognized, or Mr. Bismarck Riwani. But look, I would rather sit with Dr. Doyin Salami and say that, look, you can speak all the Turenchi, come up with all the economic policies. But
how does it affect me?
How does it affect me?
The coefficient.
You got the grammar, the blah blah. At the end of the day, as my living standard gotten better, the average Nigerian would eventually judge the performance of this government
by themselves.
As far as the economy is concerned, by their living standard.
Yes.
Oga Fuad, they say they should release grain. No Nigerians asking where is the grain?
We talked about the grain reserve.
You want to
and that's why people are doubting whether we had any reserve actually.
What? Do you know what? Do you know what?
Yes.
Barrister. For people to know that we are in trouble in terms of food. Last week, for 3 days or thereabouts, I traveled with some research companies to some states in Nigeria within 3 days. You see the one that we see in this year that people are talking about tomatoes, whatever. That one is just, do you know that whatever we plant this year is what we are going to harvest next year?
Next year.
Okay. Now, did you know that there are some certain states that are the one giving us food to eat? At least they have like 70% of the
our food supply locally.
Do you know that those big farmers among them, mechanized farmers for God's sake, that they can't reach their farms?
They can't even access their farms.
Can you even imagine in Benue, the same Benue that I went to in 2016, that a particular girl that was raped that I assisted, they have to give me 60 tubers of yam. I said, how am I going to carry to Lagos?
They won't give you one
now.
Which tuber of yam?
Could you believe that now they are even stealing yam? Where some Sahel people keep it. Number one. Then number two, all those people that normally produce all those millet, whatever, those states that are even trying much in that of that,
the bandits,
they said that a situation in which what you want to harvest from your farm is going to like 10 million naira. And with the cooperative, because they now have cooperative for the bandits, where they have to put money together
to pay them.
At the end of the day, you pay like 2 million naira. That one is one. When you are taking it out, there are some bandits. Those ones are not with the original one. That you have to settle here and there. When you want to move
your things out of the farm,
it's another thing. He said at the end of the day, you end up spending like 6 million out of the 10 million that you're supposed to have realized. So because of that, it's better that farm should be there. Then another thing again is this: a situation in which farmers now that goes to bank to collect loans. Many of them are indebted as we speak. The grains that the president said they are going to distribute.
Release.
Okay, they are going to release. Now, from where? Did they keep it somewhere? Another thing again
is there's National Reserve.
Do you know that every state before used to have a place for reserved? If I didn't know anyone, I know of three states. Number one, I know the one of Lagos. Agege. From under bridge Agege down to Abattoir. That was the reason why Abattoir was sited there. All the right side is for farm. They have barn there, they have storage facilities there. Before, now it has turned to estate. They've sold everything. The one in Ogun State, you know Akomoje now?
Yes.
That is mainly for it. Then in Oyo State, when you are trying to get through the metropolis of Ibadan and you are going to Omiadio side, going to the link between Odeda and Oyo State, that's why they placed, and that was the reason their agricultural institute was cited there.
No, a lot of this.
If they've killed all those ones, where is the federal government going to see
the reserve?
Where is going to see reserve?
I think the issue is that if this country had remained stagnant, it would have been okay for us.
At least we can maintain.
When you say stagnant, just on one place.
If it had remained stagnant
from where we are coming from,
from where we are coming from, yeah.
Or even if we have moved back to the area.
Okay.
Because this
move back.
The point is that they say we are moving forward. That's what I've been hearing. The country is making progress. Making progress.
You can make progress in error.
Into pains and destruction for the people. Look, let's look. If you a family of 4 in Nigeria today, given the way that the prices of food items have gone up and are still going up.
It's crazy, actually.
Given how much you have to pay for electricity. The minister told us that we use deep freezer overnight.
No, he has apologized for that. He said it's
but he said it's
an apology does not remove the fact that he said it.
And that's what is in his head, actually.
And truly today, many of us cannot put our deep freezers on throughout the night.
You are already prophesied.
What therefore you get is that you have a government that is an expert in inflicting pains, and all they keep talking about is how the future will be great, how it will be glorious.
I will not die today.
Make the sacrifice today now, and then you ask them, what sacrifice are you making?
At least to tell us that look, it's on both sides, not just on.
Let me. Sorry, I know this is not related to our topic, but have you seen the convoy of the deputy speaker of the House of Representatives?
Look, the guy,
and how he celebrated.
The guy moves around like a celebrity.
Have you seen the
like
convoy
a pop star
of the speaker?
And of course, I've seen it.
Have you seen the convoy of the president of the Senate?
The Senate.
The way.
No, that one know how to use lifestyle.
No. We are talking about.
I give it to him.
If you have to put a value on the vehicles in those convoys,
and how to even fuel it.
What?
These are choice latest vehicles.
There was an election in the United Kingdom.
Yes.
Rishi Sunak, immediately after the results,
with the wife living the 10 Downing Street.
Number 10 Downing Street. Did they budget 1 billion to renovate 10 Downing Street?
No,
did you see the front?
The other man came in immediately.
Did you see the front of 10 Downing Street? How bare it was.
Just a normal road.
Yes, a normal road, sir.
Yet the man moved in with his family.
Did the job he needed to do.
But those on their own they work now. Here they
there
work.
was no talk
about renovation,
he's not going to move in now.
befitting,
another budget for cutleries,
unicorn computer, and the other man is coming in.
In fact, this man, as we talk about, immediately he saw the king, and the king said, "Go and form a new government." The other man moved out.
In fact, he has even have a list before.
Immediately he started announcing his minister.
Yes.
So no
6 months.
These are people that are really working. Look, just like we love committees, we also love delayed.
No, I'm actually afraid when I hear committee now from what you have said that if there's a problem we don't want to solve, just set up a committee.
If you are a government
and budget money,
if you are a government and you are sensitive to the hardship that your fellow citizens are going through, you can't have public officials display this opulence and
look. I saw the Senate president leaving his vehicle.
Yeah, an S-class, and then you saw some Nigerians running after the vehicle.
Look, some of his aides were even helping him to properly put his agbada. I'm like, so to even put your agbada in place properly is a problem that somebody has to help you to do.
The convoy of the British Prime Minister. Did you see his convoy?
Just basic normal. One or two vehicles,
one spare car,
and that's all.
And an outrider.
Just somebody leading him through.
The other day I went.
Meanwhile, the office of the deputy speaker does not even exist in the United States, where we copy this thing from.
But here you see the deputy speaker and the convoy.
Either suit or agbada, and you see they will be singing some music like that.
Oh my God!
From all the ones
how ginger.
The other day I went to pick my children from school. I didn't know that the Senate president is coming to Lagos. From Air Force, they stop every vehicle to wait until whether the Senate president is just landing until when the
that
man
is before Bisham. Before Bisham.
Yes, now until when the vehicle pass and I say okay, it means that me, what's my business with Senate President? As not that we are following this whole route, we want to go to Ikeja, but everybody going to Ikeja have to wait on the Senate until the Senate President pass coming to Oshodi or VI before we can continue. So the issue there is, I believe some of these guys believe that they are more Nigeria than us. So for me, it is better we sit down together and ask them, let's select who are actually Nigeria.
Maybe we are second class, but we are not even Nigeria.
No, we are not even Nigeria. Because if we are Nigeria, we cannot be having. The other day they said that when they pass the old but national anthem now, all our problem
will be solved.
No, that was catchy.
So it means that one has passed now is to now set up a committee.
Did you see that is the same mentality that our leaders have here? Is the same with the one in Kenya.
Yeah, that's which is
in all over Africa.
Africa, yes.
Every time there is a problem,
you create another one.
No, they shift it to the poor people.
The poor people have to bear the consequences.
William Ruto, the current president, was deputy president 10 years.
He knows he's part of the system.
He was minister 3 times. He was a congressman. They were the people who piled up the debt.
That the people have that
not the poor Kenyans.
that they have to now tax out of life.
Trying to solve the problem.
The people must pay the tax.
They want to go and tax the people.
Well, the people have spoken, and I think
look at Nigeria, for instance. We are talking about building an economy that is self-sufficient. When your farmers cannot go to farm, you have banned import of the same food items. Do you understand? So I think we need to think more innovatively. Because you see, every day of our lives that passes will never return to us.
Of course, yes.
So I'm not going to be here planning for the next 10, 15 years. I know that I have kids, okay? But I live within a time frame and space.
And it must count.
Just like they are also living. If they can live in luxury, I'm not saying I want to compete with you.
Yes. But make the environment a bit conducive for us.
The policies that you make, please make them with a human face so that I can
live my life.
A poor man like me can be taken care of.
But
I can be happy.
Even the president said, let the poor breathe. He said it.
Which breathe?
I said his nails are the strongest on my neck. I said it here.
But go for just make effort. Make effort that you have a parcel to deliver in the airline, Ikoyi, and answer, okay, you don't want to burn your fuel or disturb yourself.
I want to call dispatch rider.
When I ask one, they say, just to VI here, this amount, you say, sir,
the cost,
the amount that some different
local
people will
government
be collecting
each local government is going to
I stood at Maryland the other day. There are some people who wear uniform, stopping all of them as if they have committed a crime. That means we cannot make an environment to be
so harsh and hostile.
I think we need to be thanking all wives.
Yeah, the women.
You know, before, even if you give them money, they will tell you it's not enough. They added to it. All men, we are apologizing. That truly, we don't know of them. That but you now, support us.
But for them to have been able to
but now we know you support us, irrespective of whatever we put on ground.
But don't let the woman hear. Don't let the women hear what we are saying.
We need to tell them
they will not,
that we are sorry.
Don't overpraise women. I know what I'm saying.
Because
let us when we leave the studio.
Women that you are talking does not include the wives of our leaders.
No. We are talking about wives of other Nigerians.
No, those ones are not. Those ones are not women. No, those ones are queens.
Our first ladies.
Those ones are queens.
We are talking about women, wives of ordinary Nigerians.
People like us.
They are doing a fantastic job at this time.
Are you sure the guide them as Nigeria?
Well,
we need to find a way to
find out. But I'll be Nigerian if they lie. But honestly, we need to move to the next issue on the roundtable. We see political roundtable, mainland 98.3 FM. Of course, we've been able to deal with this committee by the president and the 2 trillion naira intervention. Of course, we've broken it down. all looking very nice, but I think maybe over the period of 6 months we'll continue to evaluate and see.
Will come up.
Exactly.
From the same committee.
That one will come to produce the white paper of this
committee. I don't know. Well, I'm hoping that we'll get another committee on this one. We'll get some actionable plans and see some results at the end of the day. I'm actually hopeful. I want to give, but again, for us to so that Nigerians can know how bad the situation is. One of the reports I stumbled on listed the number of companies that have left the country in 1 year. In 3 years, about 16 multinationals. We are not talking about local manufacturing companies
that are closed every day.
That have just stopped operations.
But you know what they tell you? They say no, the guys are choosing different environment. These are business.
And we should ban them when they are now importing to Nigeria.
The CEO of Total Energies, Mr. Patrick Poyen, I said that look, the reason why he's moving is $6 billion investment to Angola is because of our inconsistencies when it comes to our policies. A $6 billion investment is no joke in the oil sector. This is a sector.
But this is the same country celebrating an inflow of $500 million.
Whereas the $60 billion is going somewhere else that should have been retained here.
If you complain, you are enemy of the country.
No, it's just common sense, really, by Mr. Curtis. Because again, in 1 year now, because I decided to just limit it to 1 year. Like I said, over 16.
So they won't say a body of another government.
We're talking about in the last 1 year and dates. GlaxoSmithKline left in 2023. At least that was like the first major.
And that is why drugs like Augmentin,
of course, yes,
that we're selling for 10 to 12
has gone
almost 100,000
has gone through the roof. The price,
you know why?
And that's a company that has operated in Nigeria for 51 years.
You know why? Because and then the import duties for these drugs too are high.
So they left to bring it in.
So when you are now putting 2 trillion and you're saying over 500 is going towards the drugs or something, right?
For the health sector, I think 350 billion.
Okay,
yes.
So for the health sector. Now for the health sector and social welfare,
you are not looking at the cost of importing drugs, because we are not manufacturing drugs here now. Except if you are saying the essential drug like paracetamol, where we can then go to the.
But it's they are going to use herbs and leaves.
No, okay. But for another company that's left is Equinor. Which has a lot of interest in the oil and gas sector, the Agbami oil field and what have you. That's a company that's been in Nigeria for over 30 years. They left in November 29, 2023. They announced that look, bye to Nigeria.
Somebody told me that we will form local companies to take over from them.
How? Where? And I said that look,
I'll bring the person next week so you ask him.
No, because again, by Curtis, if there's a big masquerade in the village square and something chased the big masquerade away from that village square, with a small masquerade face that
will bring grace and disappear.
So if the big companies that have all the shock absorbers, the investments, the technicality and the know-how to run businesses are leaving. So which one are you going to set up to take over?
You know what my mother told me?
Yes.
He said when the madman's cloth is tearing, you know what he says?
What does he say?
He said, this my cloth is becoming bigger and wider. That's what is happening now.
Because again, Sanofi left, that's also a company, Procter & Gamble, we can't forget Procter & Gamble leaving, also in December 2023, after 30 years of operating in Nigeria, both, so many companies, honestly, in the last 1 year.
Billions of dollars.
And investments are leaving. But again,
but Oga Fuad,
yes,
I think why we are seeing all this thing is this. I can recollect there was a time living in the village. I left my father's house to my grandfather's place. My father was not sleeping because he went to meet my grandfather and say he want to know why I should leave his own house to now be staying in my grandfather's house. You understand?
I'm with you.
When people were jackpotting the syndrome of Nigeria that we're supposed to be making effort to say, even though they will go abroad to go and school, they should come back to come and contribute their own quota on how Nigeria will move forward. They were moving. People say they can.
No, we had a minister that said that look, the doctors can leave.
And the rest of them,
anybody who want to go can go.
We have enough doctors.
The same Ngige that when he left a medical school, they begged him to come for a private organization. He said no. And I know how he was when he was living in 1004. Enjoying all the luxury as a doctor.
No, well, anyway,
So
so
to be a thing of concern that our citizens are moving out of the
no,
country.
we need we need to move on really
Because
because
of time.
I wanted us to get to Edo State. It's still political roundtable mainland 90.3
Our
FM.
economy is suffering.
Yeah,
Our pockets.
so but we need to move on to politics now. Let's discuss a bit of politics. We are going to Edo State. We are streaming the show live on Facebook. I can see comments and contributions already dropping on our Facebook platform, so you can also drop your comments and contributions on our Facebook platform. The two issues remaining on the on political roundtable, we're going to squeeze it into 30 minutes so that by 7:30 we open the phone lines. But you can drop your comments and contributions now on our Facebook and YouTube platform at mainland 98.3 FM. The rest assured that we'll take them when we start, of course, to take contributions from you, our listeners out there. Now, Edo State. There's trouble in the land for the PDP. Well, they've been saying that it's really not a problem. But of course, the report is that, look, a federal high court has nullified. Now, too many interpretations. We don't know where we stand, really, as far as the interpretation of that court ruling is concerned. In fact, the latest report is that the CTC did not even say anything about nullifying the primaries. But again, the report is that there was anxiety and confusion in Edo State. People's Democratic Party, the PDP, on Thursday, when news filtered in that the Federal High Court sitting in Abuja had held that the primary election of March 25 of the PDP was done with irregularities, some of which were against the Electoral Act and the constitution of the party. The news rattled the camp of the PDP candidate, Dr. Ighodalo, and the party's campaign organization office, while expectedly the opposition APC explored the situation when it issued a statement calling on Ighodalo to now join them in their campaign to rescue the state. It was very funny when the AP said that, look, Ighodalo, just come and join us, so that we can rescue the state.
As what? As deputy governor? What?
He's just as maybe as a party member. But let's look at what the court, the judge, it was a three-man, panel. But let's look at what Justice Inyang Ekwo of the Federal High Court in Abuja said. He held that the PDP's primary, again, because the way lawyers now interpret judgments, you begin to think whether it was written in French or in Spanish or something. These judgments are written in English, and something you have read in English, they interpret it in a way that confuses it more than even the judgment itself. Because the judge held that the PDP's primary, which held on the 22nd of February, failed to comply with the provisions of the Electoral Act 2022, the guidelines for the conduct of the poll, and the party's constitution. Justice Ekwo, who said that the exhibit PDP 1 tendered by the party was bereft of evidence, held that the plaintiffs, through the exhibit tendered, were able to establish their case against the defendants. The judge said that from the exhibit presented by the PDP, he found that the returning officers who prepared the result sheets only sat down in a place to manufacture the outcome of the poll. They just wrote results. That's what the judge is saying. He said that the exclusion of the 381 delegates, including the plaintiffs,
378. It should be 378.
Okay, 378, yes, were against the provisions of the law. Justice Ekwo held that although INEC, the first defendant, filed a memorandum of appearance in the suit, it was unfortunate that the commission did not file any process in the case. INEC just stayed away. According to the judge, the first defendant counsel only said it will be bound by the decision of the court. And again, according to the judge, I found that the case of the plaintiff succeed on its merit. It will be recalled that the three aggrieved ad hoc delegates, now 3 members out of the 378, on behalf of the 378 others, had sued the INEC, the PDP, its national secretary, and the vice chairperson South as first to fourth defendants, respectively. Well, the PDP legal advisor has said that it's nothing really. There's nothing to worry about. But Mr. Curtis, you follow the issue. What's going on with the PDP in Edo State?
It's nothing new with the PDP, and it's nothing new with our politics. You understand that every time the sitting governor backs a candidate, he violates the constitution of his party, the electoral process, the electoral guidelines, just to ensure that his hand-picked candidate is given the ticket of the party.
You're talking about the governor of the state now.
That's what, not only about
our politicians
all governors do. We saw that in River State. That's what is leading to the crisis that we have.
So you lock out some people and just do whatever you want to do.
So, and what happened here was that there was a list of delegates that should have been used for that election. That was abandoned for the list that the governor gave to the committee.
But the judge said he just wrote result now.
But you know what is very painful about this? Is that, again, it objectifies the saying that whereas in other parts of the world, institutions and those who held them act as bulwark against dictatorship of those in power. In Nigeria, over and over again, we have seen that these institutions and those who lead them cannot even defend the institutions that they run, or defend the institutions, or defend their own positions based on principles or values. Because nobody wants to leave the government. How would INEC supervise or superintend the conduct of primaries that the Electoral Act was not followed, the constitution of the party was not followed, the guidelines set up by the same INEC was not followed? And look at what he did. He went to the court and said, no, don't worry, whatever you decide is binding on us.
No position.
And this is what they have been doing. And nobody will call INEC to give account or call them to answer any question.
So why do they monitor these elections?
They keep doing all these things, and in that election, they go there and send their men there. The men will be settled by the political powers.
Of course, they just sit and observe.
So the right result. Now, what is the implication? The PDP, of course, will tell you it's not a big deal.
But what they are saying,
because this is what they are used to. They can't change their ways. This is what they are fond of writing results. You remember the case of Ifeanyi Ararume?
Ararume, yes.
And Amechi, the K-leg thing that the person just said. You saw how it both ended up at the Supreme Court. And so many other cases. And the APC is also not better.
Of course not.
Because these are two sides of one coin.
You remember that the APC primary to produce two candidates
you
until
understand?
when there was intervention from a...
The problem here is that the faction of the PDP that went to court is the faction that is loyal to Philip Shuaibu, yes. And they might not ultimately succeed in removing Ighodalo. Because as you know, when it goes to the Court of Appeal and ultimately to the Supreme Court, which has to run this gamut either by some political negotiation or
maneuvering and what have you,
something, Ighodalo will end up as the candidate. But the implication is that the PDP, it tells you now the PDP is a divided house. Because those delegates, whether
378 of them,
at the end of the day, their political camp will not support the PDP.
Well, Philip Shuaibu is already supporting.
No, he has come out to say that he is not going to support Lagos.
An outsider.
An outsider, as he calls them. He said the way, but he supported Obaseki when Adams Oshomole brought him.
So he said they brought him and it became a problem. They have brought another person from outside.
Now, Obaseki is also following in the same way, the same manner, trajectory. Obaseki also he want to become the political godfather too of the state.
He said Lagos to be.
He told us
they don't know be Lagos,
and that they are not going to have political godfather.
Okay.
So this is the problem, and the simple solution is this: the governor can back a candidate of his choice,
but follow the
process. After all,
follow the rules.
It's in Nigeria with the same rights and protection afforded anyone by the Constitution, but allow the process
to play out properly
according to due process and according to the laws guiding this process. That's all that is needed. And if indeed you have the strength, do you understand, the gravitas, the influence,
you should
be able to get the delegates who are
to vote for your candidate.
To vote for your candidate. And what you see, the political parties are used to this process. You know that overnight a new list of delegates will emerge.
Yes, just few hours.
Party members that have been elected delegates will not be able to vote.
In this case, they were even locked out.
You remember the case of Patitomi?
Yes.
While he was working with the list of the delegates. He didn't even know where
the location of the primary.
The same thing happened to Festus Keyamo.
They don't finish primary again. I think that was what happened to the wife of Akredolu too.
Yes.
When they went to Imo State. Primary don't finish.
The same setup. So this thing will continue to happen so long as we are not willing to follow our laws and follow due process and then open up the process to everybody who wants to participate. This whole idea is that because I'm a sitting governor, my candidate cannot fail, and so I will do everything.
But let the process run. Follow the law. Well, Nuruddin, before coming on the show, we talked about some of the legalities that have been coming up. People have been doing all manner of interpretation. Everybody's a lawyer now. Politicians have become lawyers, and of course, one of the issues that have come up is that because the PDP has said they are going to the appeal court.
They are already in the appeal court.
And the appeal court, and most likely this case will get to the Supreme Court. Again, issues of whether these delegates, these three representing the 378, have the locus to file this case against the PDP as far as the primary is concerned. There's now the talk of the Supreme Court judgment saying that, look, if you were never a part of the primaries, you cannot challenge the conduct of the primaries. But these are delegates who are challenging the conduct of the primaries because they were supposed to be a delegate in the primary.
No, they are not. They are saying
yes,
they were excluded from voting.
From voting, yes.
And that those who voted were fake delegates. So they are not challenging the emergence of Aso Ighodalo.
But the process.
Yes. The process that
produced him.
Yes.
So if this, for example, the PDP is saying that, look, this court ruling did not nullify the candidature of Ighodalo, but it's nullifying the process that produced you. Is it just semantics, Barrister Court?
It's not semantics.
Yes.
If the conduct of the primaries did not lay down guidelines, and it's not covered by existing laws,
yes,
it means in the eye of the law, no primaries took place.
So automatically, no candidate.
The PDP will not have a candidate.
But Nuruddin, we've seen things like this in the past. Like Sakoi just talked about Fire Ararume and the K-leg and what eventually came out of it. We've seen political parties, candidates, fight themselves to a standstill within the party to the extent that at the end of the day, they are not even able to produce a candidate. How troubling should this be for the PDP in Edo State? Look, forget about what anybody might be saying. This is going to be a keenly contested election because the APC, the president was in Edo State saying that, look, I'm going to deliver for my party. You just go and keep your mind at rest. Should this be trouble for the PDP, or you think it's no real trouble for the PDP, and that indeed, this is a storm they're going to be able to weather and come out victorious in September?
Well, a situation in which you want to go for a tournament and you have injury, even if it is a finger injury, it's still part of
your top striker is ready.
I'm telling you. So,
issues.
but one thing that is here is that it's something they should worry about. But one thing that I know, just like Barrister Koti said, I stand to be corrected. It's only if this one is going to be different at the end of the day. That's good. We'll see the candidate of the party, because we've seen series of that. Then another thing again is this: the certified true copy of that particular judgment. I think the chief judge of the federation needs to be doing something that will not even have. So if the CCT is not talking about certified true copy of that judgment, it's not talking about what is being reported, there's another case. Then another thing again is this: I think we need to look at, and this is what our National Assembly, instead of sleeping, instead of going through what is not even normal, that they need to look at the angle of INEC very well. I think when you've conducted an election or you've supervised a primary that you flaw, that representative of the INEC at that particular need to be queried on the level of civil service.
Once again, I'm thinking that, look, INEC supervises an election. They're supposed to come up with a report. They are supposed to also monitor the election, looking at whether the party followed the guidelines.
Yes.
Stipulated in the Electoral Act.
Yes.
Stipulated by INEC.
Yes.
And even the party constitution.
Yes.
But they go there sitting like just mere observers. And when they are joined in suit, they don't take any position.
They set the house on fire,
and
then they say whether fire brigade puts out the fire.
We saw,
don't be my business.
We saw the presidential primary of the two major leading parties.
Political
and we
parties.
saw EFCC all around there.
Whereas money was.
And we know that those people that went there that we've even talked to, as journalists that we talked to, they said, Omo, Kokishe Naira no fly.
Dollar was flying around.
Dollar was flying around.
But now,
what happened?
Now, poor voters for Osun go there.
Whereas when they were sharing 3,000, EFC was arresting people in the street. I beg. Joseph, this is your state. And I know that, somehow, this don't know be Lagos thing. I think we should rest it. It's just in the saying. We are already seeing a situation where the governor seems to be reenacting the idea of godfatherism. Whether we like it or not, even the way he dealt with his deputy, shouldn't that trouble people like you who are from the state, who have always thrown up this idea of Edonobi Lagos? We have seen a governor who practically expelled the deputy from the party. Now you have this problem coming as a result of how the primaries were conducted. Are we seeing, a problem with the PDP in Edo State, or you think it's just nothing big, really?
Well, for me, there's problem in Nigeria and Edo State.
I'm talking about Edo State now.
Yeah, and Edo State is inside Nigeria, and the
let's talk about
political problem.
Political problem in Edo State.
Yes.
Let me start with the one from Philip. The one that is happening to PDP now, I would say close to it served them right. The one that happened to Philip Shaibu, I equally say it served him right. Because, for example, when you see someone who your friend before, and you see people beating that your friend, he stand even helping them, holding their shirt, or giving them cold water to drink so that they get energy.
One day they will.
To beat that friend. The day they now turn and started beating him is as if the day of reckoning. You know, I know Philip and former governor Adams Oshomole to be very, very
good friends.
Good friend before. And when Obaseki and Adams Oshomole has issue,
fell apart here.
I think the major person that actually was from one corner of the country or one part of the state
moving around
to the other was
Philip
Shaibu. He's the one that even announced that we need to even arrest the former governor
and expel the godfather.
Because yes, because it's disturbing. He said the constitutional nuisance
on the state.
In the state. So that they should arrest him so that he will calm down. So the issue that is happening to him, well, that is a part of the, is it a nemesis they call it or whatever. So let him face karma. So let him face that very one. But coming down to Obaseki, you know, when you talk of performance, maybe governance, sometimes you say, okay, just leave some of these individuals. But when you now talk of complying with simple rules and regulation, you can't set up a law
and violate
then only you started violating it. I don't think it is normal. Then secondly, it's supposed to be like, as a governor, you're supposed to be custodian of the law of your party and equally custodian of the law of the state. If at all, just like what Barrister Curtis said, if at all you have preference for a candidate,
you have
to find a way just
to mobilize.
Just like a father who, there's no father that have up to 7, 10 children that somehow, oh, this one resembles my father. When a father is saying that this child resembles my father, you know, he's telling you something. That is possible that
that's where his heart is. Yeah.
So you will still have to be very, very decent and diplomatic about. But when you just come out straight, started fighting, they have to face this what they are facing today. But the challenge is this: I pray that the people of Edo State should not allow some of this element to cause crisis
in Edo State,
in the state. And thank God, they have APC, they have PDP, they equally have Labour Party, another party.
People have said the Labour Party is just not.
No, the Labour Party, the issue there is this, and this is a
because it's about Edo Central now. The man from Edo South.
Yes, this is an international media house. All Labour Party, I know say Labour Party will come for me.
Come after you.
All
in Edo State.
Labour parties in Edo State, all those guys in the House of Assembly in Edo State, the form that the money they used to bought their form was from the purse of PDP. Quote me. And those guys, and that's the reason you don't actually see any difference. Say what is going on in Edo State House of Assembly. Say Labour Party is the opposition. Labour Party is like NPDP in the Edo State House of Assembly, and that's the reason when the former deputy governor
was removed, the guy that was appointed,
my brother who is from my local government and from my side, who was formerly federal, who contested for
under
federal
the Labour Party
House of Representative,
was picked as a
under
deputy governor.
Labour was picked as a governor. A deputy governor. I now say, well, this is equally my home too. Labour is my home, and this place.
No, because again, what Joseph is saying,
the issue there is this: what may likely happen if maybe what the president said that he will deliver
for
APC, the people may equally decide and say, okay, since you want do am, make we carry and give another person that we know say we don't lose.
Person.
You yourself, you will not get it. So
it.
let the APC not just sit there and say, oh, PDP did not have candidate. It's possible that they may have candidate. And I know there was a day I went to one party, and my friend has a spoon in his pocket, say in case he is able to get rice and no spoon, will bring out a spoon to eat.
So you know you think
I did not get rice that day. Even himself that has spoon, was not serving rice.
I know that there's something you want to say that you are trying not to say. So what you are trying to say basically is that the Labour Party is almost like a plan B.
Is a
for
plan
the
B,
PDP,
yes,
or their placeholders for the PDP.
Is a plan B,
or placeholders.
Is a plan B
in Edo State.
In Edo State for PDP. So APC should not just
think that if it's sent to the PDP,
because
it's all over.
For example, like now I know that they didn't quote the president correctly. That he say we deliver Edo State for, and maybe they mistakenly quote him, because in 2019 when he went to Edo State,
come out to deny and say that's not what I said.
No, it's possible that they may misquote him. So in 2019 when he said that short broadcast, they say I'm a Democrat, this and this and this, please don't vote Obaseki as your governor in Edo State. That anger a lot of
people in Edo State.
And they now say, okay, this is the direction we want to go. So let the president be the president
of Nigeria.
So
he has to campaign for his party.
But be careful of
the way he says this.
You can't deliver. It's a democratic system. You can't say I will deliver those states to.
No, right. when you don't even have a vote.
When you don't have a vote.
Because we are going to open the phone lines very soon. By his performance, or maybe
that's the reason the judge in court say APC, the PDP did not have a candidate.
There are people who have said that Philip Shuaibu should have not, set up a parallel primary. He's also still in court. He's actually still in court. Apart from this delegate's decision, Philip Shuaibu also has a case in court. People have said that, look, he would have stayed in the party and participated in this primary.
Philip is now practicing what I call foul theory. Foul theory is whatever the foul cannot eat, he uses his leg
to scatter everything.
So, as far as he's concerned, if I'm not going to get this ticket and be governor,
let everything spoil
for PDP.
All right, let's because I want to open the phone lines. We're going to do this 1 minute for every member of the panel now. The Chief of Army Staff, General Taoreed Lagbada, has said that, local government autonomy is the ultimate thing. If you give us local government autonomy, insecurity becomes a thing of the past. He talked about the fact that there is no real governance at the local level is why it is extremely difficult really to tackle insecurity, because insecurity can best be tackled from the grassroots at the local level. Do you 1 minute? Do you support what the Chief of us?
No, pure comedy. As much as I am a proponent
of local government autonomy, irrespective of the way they spend and the useless way they do their things, I still believe, according to the law, they should stay on their own. But saying is the one that will solve the problem of insecurity at the rural area, I disagree. There are some certain local government chairmen, they are even a criminal in their own local governments. So what is important is that Lagbaja should do his work with his men, and I know they are trying. They may have some certain challenges, but they should face their major job and leave the politicians. One thing that is so certain there is this: the lot of our brothers and sisters that are being kidnapped as we speak, the lot of them that have been killed in a few weeks, Lagbaja and his men should focus on that. But the one saying autonomy, what is autonomy? What of that state? Does that state does not have a governor? Does his local government chairman, is he going to be in charge of security? Is he going to be in charge of security? All right,
so there is a truth to the statement, and there is also an exaggeration
to the same statement.
The truth is that we need autonomy for local government.
Yes.
There are specific roles tailored that for them, that only them can play. For instance, coordinating with the state on criminal elements, the traditional rulers and all that. So we need autonomy for local government.
It will help.
Yes. However, the fighting insecurity is the function of the federal government, because we have a state, we have a national police system and the military. Even the governor of a state.
So is he deflecting from the real issues? The Chief of Army Staff.
I think he chose some inelegant words to express his desire. But what I pick from the whole thing is that he has joined the bandwagon of those of us calling for autonomy for local government.
so if everybody wants it, I also want it. And that's the reason why I'm also doing my job well.
So I commend him for that.
Okay, all right.
For me, if they want to stop the insecurity in Nigeria,
yes.
No IGP, every IGP should have maybe 3 months to be renewed. If the
a probational period.
If the scale of insecurity drop, then you can renew the IGP.
So they should be on probation.
Job. Because, for example, if you look at Akale was the former IGP, right? Let's say how many people were dying or being kidnapped during Akale, and how many people are being killed or being kidnapped.
So you look at 3 months period.
It's 3 months, because to me there's no IGP in Nigeria now that deserve to stay more than 3 months. Because
but if they perform where they can stay more than that,
they can look at when this our wonderful IGP is a doctor. Abuja was in different trouble. He set up a SIS, and he said that thing. Call a press conference and said this is the solution for all the kidnappings in Nigeria, starting from Abuja. I think he never even finished
issuing the statement before.
Then the people say, "Oh God, we are still very much around," and he's doing campaign. Also, for me, let the president, every IGP currently, because by the time you give that marching order to IGP, we equally pass it to the commissioner of police in the various states, and then the commissioner of police will pass it to area commander in their various units. The area commander will call the DPO and say, "Oga, share you here. Even if you are here, boy, that will remove you." Forward, I bet you the issue of insecurity
to a great extent will go down.
We reduce, but it's a situation whereby after a lot of people die being kidnapped,
you issue statements and we move on.
The Senate will look into the matter. The Senate will pass vote of confidence on them, say they are trying. Then why which concern Lagbaja with internal security? He's supposed to be maybe Cameroon want to let's go and collect Bakassi back from Cameroon. Let's tell Ghana, say please that your boundary, we want to shift it to the other side because we need there's oil in part of your land. So this is the job of the police. IGP. So let Lagbaja face other this thing, and sometimes it's good he's talking. I think we are mentioning his name. It's becoming he's having at least people are talking about his name now. So he's an influential.
But what he has said is not bad, really.
No.
What he's saying is not bad, but it's not this. We are not expecting it from him. Let him face his
job.
Any person that want to take over Nigeria, let him face. Then call IGP, because don't be surprised tomorrow IGP will tell you, oh, let local government equally have autonomy, so that
since everybody is saying it.
Okay. And again, this IGP I mention one thing that to me the president would have excused him, says because as a civil servant, when we are putting mouth on issue of policy, I watched one meeting whereby he said for him state police should not be a solution. They are paying salary, and you cannot stop the insecurity. The government is now saying want to go on state police, you now say no. Then you would have just pick up your barrow and everything and follow the exit.
Well, that's thank you so much, Mr. Curtis Ariwa. Thank you so much, John Dinadigbin Road, Joseph Olosho. Thank you. Let's open the phone lines. We have a lot of messages on Facebook already. I'm going to try and read out all the messages. But let's just start to take the phone call. 09136000410. 09136000410. Hello, good evening.
Hello.
Yeah, good evening.
Good evening, Fuad.
Good evening, sir.
Mr. Curtis, Mr. Rudin and others.
Well, with you.
It's wonderful listening to you tonight.
Yes, your name, sir. Where are you coming from?
An excellent. My name is Penge from Mushi.
Okay, sir.
On the issue of economy, but to protect the interest of the business. That is that. On a door issue, you cannot put something on nothing. I listened to the legal advisor of PDP yesterday on channel saying that they will appeal because those who went to court are interlopers. They are not participating.
They didn't participate in the primaries. They are not.
The issue now, those who went to court, look for what the target is. The target the process. The process that produced Ighodalo. These people were elected delegates and they were excluded. Once they were excluded, the judge was very, very careful. Not coming out to invalidate the primary.
But the process.
He invalidated the process. When there is no process, the process that produced the man, there was no primary. There was no primary election. As it is now, let them appeal, and we look forward to see
the what happened at the appeal court.
So they don't have candidates. They don't have candidates. It has happened to go to other parties. APC in Zamfara, APC in Rivers, Echo does not fall. The APC who lost governor because of infraction of the deputy governor in Bayelsa, Echo does not fall. So all right. That's it. Have a lovely day.
And you too. Thank you, Mr. Kinde from Mushin. 09136000410. Hello, good evening.
That's what.
Yes, good evening.
Yeah, good evening. I greet everybody in the studio.
Your name, sir?
Yeah, this is Gegeji, so calling from a Butemeta.
All right.
I don't think, I sincerely don't think basically. Of course, you know, a particular solution policy that you are yet to even try to see if it will work. We cannot totally condemn it, but for me, I don't think local government autonomy is personally my opinion, because one, I think he's entitled to his own opinion, and not until there is any proof. Because one, for now, we cannot say we want to implement such a policy that, okay, local government autonomy, let's see how to restructure the security network, even to the local government level. For now, I don't think, so for now, if at all we want to solve the problem, is the president. The president has to be on his toes. You understand? If the president wants insecurity to end today, to end. But then we don't know the play policies about the people's life and the play to protect the lives of all Nigerians. You know, I will not totally condemn or reject his proposition as if it will not work.
Thank
For
you,
now,
Brigadier
we have
Joshua.
not tested it.
Okay.
We have not tested it.
Okay. Brigadier Joshua was only interested on the General Lagwaja's statement. Hello, good evening.
Hello.
Yeah,
Good evening.
Yes.
This is Olaiwola.
Okay.
I can't.
Where are you calling from this evening?
I'm calling from Nigeria. I want to appreciate your barrister there, because he go to the straight to the point where the issue is. Is the process that produce the candidate. That's what are challenging. And all the cases that have been going to the court, to the Supreme Court, even concern the president during the time of election, they are always challenging the candidate. It's not a process that's challenging. But these people that are taking this case to the court, they are always challenging the process, what produce the governor. That is what they are proving. They are not talking about the governor, whether the governor can not have certificate or is not a member of the PDP. But the process that is producing, that is what those people are challenging in the court of law. But if you the national advisor for the PDP in terms of a legal aspect, if you don't understand the context of the judgment, let him come and meet the barrister in the studio so he enlightens him. So you cannot.
I'm sure he's a senior lawyer. He's already at the appeal court, so the court would
he come and meet the barrister in the studio so he can give him a little advice how to go about it.
All right. Thank you. All right. 09136 0000410. Again, this presidential committee on the economy, Edo State, and insecurity in Nigeria. Hello, good evening.
Good evening, sir.
Good evening.
Yeah, now well done.
Yes, your name and where you calling from?
My name is Ekaite. I'm calling from Agbado.
Okay, let's have your take quickly.
My take is on economics.
All right.
You know, see, if you know where you are coming from, you will know where you are going to. Our government, they don't want to know where they are coming from, and they don't want to know where they are going to. Yes, that's the government that we have in this country. You know, when you even a child will know the situation of this country, it will know how our economy is going. It doesn't need anybody to go and study economy before you become an expert on it. It's telling all of us. See this committee. You see this committee.
Yes.
We'll still come back to it and talk about it.
Yes.
Because nothing. When you build on zero and you expect to reap, it can't be positive. You can't build on nothing and expect to reap on nothing on something. You reap on nothing.
All right, Sekaite.
See, let me tell you, God will bless this country.
Amen. All right. Thank you so much, Ekaite. Well, she doesn't believe anything will happen with this committee. Hello, good evening. Hello. Yes, good evening. The line is bad. Can you shift your position? I think that's Mr. Okangbelina. Can you? It's still very bad. Very, very bad. We can't. Yes.
Hello.
Yeah, call back.
No, you just have to call us back. You please try and call us back. Yeah. All right. 09136 0000410. Hello. Good evening. Hello, good evening.
Good evening.
Yeah, good evening.
Yeah, this is Felix calling from Ikotu.
Felix, you have to speak louder, please. We are struggling to hear you.
Okay, this is Felix calling from Ikotu.
All right, please go on, sir.
Okay. Concerning Edo State.
Yes.
APC should not jubilate here.
Okay.
They should not jubilate. And from Edo State, no matter what happens, if at all Ighodalo is disqualified, well, we have another alternative.
Yeah. What was the alternative?
Alternative. Is Labour Party.
Eh?
Is Labour Party. That's the alternative. Instead of APC. Because we know we are still the right hand of the war. Understanding? The person that is finished. Because they want to get a do by all means. But it's not possible. It's not possible. By the grace of God.
Okay. All right.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. First. So, people of Edo State are beginning to confess. Hello, good evening. Hello, good evening.
Hello.
Yeah, good evening.
Yeah, good evening, Mr. Paul.
Yes, good evening.
My name is Chris. I'm calling from Oga.
Chris, all right, please go on, sir.
Yeah, please, I'm concerned about the judgment in Rivers. And I didn't know if you're...
No, Rivers is not on. I deliberately just avoided the Rivers controversy until we have some clarity as to what's happening. But we have Edo State on the menu. We have the issue of the Presidential Committee on the Economy and then the issue of insecurity.
Honestly, Mr. Kwad, this is my first time of calling because I've been listening to your program, but I was able to get into there, and I'm glad.
You're welcome.
So why I wanted those to touch on that and Rivers.
Okay, talk about it. I allow you to talk about it. Yes, I give you that.
Okay, because.
So what do you want to say about Rivers State? Yes.
It's about the conflicting judgment coming from the appeal court.
Okay.
You understand? You know, sometimes we tend to shy away from this thing because we get saying we've never get and we've not have enough clarity. But we all know what is in the constitution and what is what. You understand? So we should keep on hammering on these things now because initially I tend to see a bad precedent here because it might now come out in the end and you now see somebody those 25 lawmakers coming back to this, and I think it's unconstitutional based on what the constitution is saying. Because these judges and these things we get from the court these days, it's quite staggering sometimes. Seriously speaking, how can you tell us that those 25 lawmakers they still remain? You understand? But we all know this is against the constitution. Those people they resign willingly without any them having any internal problem. You understand? So they ought to be out. I didn't understand what the judgment is coming from. Then I think we should have more on this now because that's how at the end of the day when the Supreme Court bring out their clarity on it and we now start crying foul. Let's pressure them now to do the right thing.
All right.
We shouldn't just keep quiet on this thing.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Chris. I'm sure we're still going to, later on we'll talk really more about this issue of the judgment in Rivers State, because again I think it was more of even the issue of jurisdiction, whether the court had the jurisdiction to entertain the matter in the first. Well, we'll look at it some other time, because again there are too many conflicting judgment cases in Rivers State.
To go for a very
so we'll get there definitely, but let's quickly take the messages we have on Facebook. We have Benson Richie Wee saying good evening, great men in the studio, happy Sunday to you. We greet you too. Babatunde Ajewole saying every evening to everyone in the house. To Mr. President, let's wait patiently for his economic reform. Maybe he can get it right this time around. And to Mr. Joseph, I wish him more good years ahead. Enjoy your day to the fullest. Happy birthday, sir. All right, thank you. We have Abdul Rafiu Alabalakwe who is saying good evening, guys. Happy Sunday. And also to Happy New Year. That's the the new Muslim calendar year.
Okay, the
Hijra. Well, Ashwaji Bola Ahmed Tinubu is trying to make the economy work for the country, but there are few elements which are trying to be bottleneck for the country to be salvaged economically. However, I welcome the idea of setting up a committee to see to the solution. But to be honest with Mr. President, the likes of Alhaji Aliko Dangote, Elumelu, and Samanda can't give advice that would affect their businesses, because one of the solutions to the economy is to fully allow many people to be involved in cement, rice, sugar, oil, refineries, etc. On Edo politics, PDP is sleeping on a long team. Look, some people still telling the PDP candidate to appeal the case. Look, even if the PDP win, it will never govern. Why? Well, next to him will be in charge. Case study of Bayelsa, Zamfara, and Imo State. We have Patrick Obi, as always, saying, Mr. Father, our panelist is it not concerning that till date, both the political parties and legislators, including the Attorney General and respected Mr. Technicality, Olanipe Kwesi, both of whom are among our politicians, beautiful brides for election petitions, and not seen to be showing interest in electoral reforms, which forms the fundamental of electoral democracy. Can they initiate private or executive reform bills based on what experiences they have gathered over the years in the court to help strengthen the process? Or does it not suggest that they are all certified with the status quo, including the conduct and outcome of the last elections that was adjudged by both local and international observers as less than credible? Should we expect any different results if elections are conducted 1 million times with the present electoral arrangement? The consequences remain that the worst of us with stolen funds to dispense will continue to be imposed on the rest of us as our political leaders. Kazim Olawale Sulaimon is saying happy Sunday and happy New Year, Idra 1446. We have Basil Chika, we saying we kind of quagmire we find ourselves economically in Nigeria under Tinubu. Committee after committee cannot solve it because it's just committee of friends and not in any way to address the crisis we are facing, because of the solutions are simple, but they lack the will. Secondly, insecurity is born out of the same economic situation because a hungry, uneducated man can easily be deceived, and that is why we are clamoring for necessary infrastructure. That's Chika Bende from Trade Fair. We have John Bernard Ohi, who is saying, good evening, Mainland FM. Bet me another committee will be set up to look into the report of this committee. President Tinubu may be good politician, but on economy, he has nothing to offer. We have Chijoke Azu, who is saying, plutocracy is the name of government Nigerian politicians operate. They decide what to do and what to earn. They box judiciary into a tight corner that an arm of government that's supposed to be the last hope of the common man is now seen as the last rope of, shame on the politicians. Some strong words there I'm trying to edit. Steal it, grab it, and run away with it is the message they preach. As much as INEC Chairman, Chief Justice INEC are appointed by Mr. President, forget it. And that is Chijoke from Isolo. Temitope Ojo is saying, happy Sunday to you guys in the studio. With utmost respect to the President and the entire cabinet, it's just a tactical delay that they are doing. Remember that 2024 will be over soon. 1 year without anything except hardship and collapse of electricity grid. 2 weeks or 2 months. It is well. And Joseph Shokinstein saying, good day, Nigerians. We have Bright Okon saying, happy Sunday to all of you, Mr. Fuad and the guests. I want to talk about the Economic Committee, which is the same people that the Tinubu set up early this year, Dangote, Otelo, and the rest, which with no result. Maybe but before December, they will set up another committee. And then James Ogbonna is saying, gentlemen in the studio, I greet you fundamentally. Mr. Fuad, like I said initially, that as far as the PDP election, I was on the fence, but sometimes I think I like it when deputy governors dare their principles. Right from the time, I never liked the issue of zoning. So I supported Philip Shuaibu's ambition and audacity despite his boss working against him and his party settling for a particular senatorial district. I believe everybody should be allowed to throw their hat in the ring, and whoever thinks is popular should win, because if it was Governor Baseki who was the deputy governor, would he withdraw his ambition if he was told to do so? On Rivers, our hearts and prayers are with Governor Fubara, and I know he would have the last laugh. I'm patiently waiting for the end of Wike's powers and popularity. Nobody reigns forever. That's James Ogbonna from Oshodi. We have good evening to the crew on Political Roundtable. Permit me to say that we have moved from democracy system of government to kakistocracy, where by the worst is ruling the best of us. In Nigeria, committee is the best weapon used by the government to ravage any problem of the masses. Truth be told, Mainland FM is a school of factual politics. Welcome back, Mr. Nuruddin. Thank you so much, Daolajide Peter, for that message. We have Christopher Effiong, who is saying, good evening, everyone in the studio. God bless you guys. Amen. You guys are doing very good, fantastic analysis in the studio. Economics committee, this President Tinubu has already planned to fail. Best on the people that are involves what more money can do. More money can do better. There's a mix-up there. Those people can't deliver. God bless Nigeria. And then Akangi Benjamin 30 saying, good evening to everyone in the studio. Gafua, led by Sarkozy, be joining you on Trends in the Papers. I love his analysis. Okay, thank you for this. So let's just say, I think we should be able to squeeze in 2 or 3 more calls before we call it a day on the show. Hello, good evening.
I very thank you.
Yes.
For
for picking the call. The 4 pillars. Very good evening to all of you.
Yeah, good evening, Prince Wise. Let's be very fast. We are running out of time.
I will do it. Number one, those committees being set up. Let the forensic say, we can only pray for God for us to succeed. Especially that the 4 points we are talking about. I can only talk about it of it. The electricity, we must implement it fullest. The money I have for it, they must spend it wisely. The agriculture. That is tonic now. We can feed ourselves. We are talking about insecurity. Yes, we must have insecurity. But if we do this, we must still go back to the farm. Federal government, state government, you have to pay a lot of money. Big story. Assist the farmer with 0% loan. So mechanized farming is the key. And for you see, because it is not Lagos. You kept people in the traffic room. And you don't want Godfather. Look at hypocrisy with our people. You say you don't want Godfather. It was accused social money. Now you not conduct the very, very 40th election. And people will be, when you lose, they be criticizing a very bad election. What are you doing as a governor? We are commending Labour Party in the UK now. Majority of the politicians, majority of them are protesting election rigor. Only the master is always the winner. I'm telling you. Good evening to you.
Good evening, Prince. I will take the last call for the evening and we call it a day on the show. Hello, good evening.
Hello.
Yeah, good evening, sir.
Good evening. Yeah, this is Charles from First House.
All right, the last call for the evening. Go on, Mr.
So,
Charles.
because it happened in Zamfara and Port Harcourt in 2019, so it also happened in Rivers State. I don't understand all these APC and their supporters. So, AP, they don't want, those Rivers State, sorry, Edo State. If they don't want PDP to happen, no problem. They should go ahead and win now. Let them control the whole state as it is state. I beg, enough of all this Higi Haga, according to
Patrick Obaya. Where is he with the man?
I don't know.
Okay.
He has gone.
All right. Thank you so much, Mr. Charles. I think that was a very brief one. Well, that will be the last call for the evening. But Mr. Curtis, your final take on the show this evening.
Well, Mr. President, I have a message for you on behalf of the poor people of Nigeria like myself. Our situations are not improving. In fact, things are getting worse. We can barely afford food. We can't pay for electricity. And we are still hoping, because you say we should hope.
We need hope.
We need hope. And we hope also that you will come through for us. Setting up this committee, you have good intention, but I want you to watch the committee members and what they come up with.
You'll be reporting to him every month.
Yes. Like God, the ministers report to him every day and every week.
And nothing has changed. All right, thank you so much, Barrister Curtis Adiba. Nuruddin, your final take on the show this evening.
Well, I think I'm going to toe the line of the barrister. Poor Nigerians are suffering. I'm telling you.
That's a fact.
They are shouting.
They're crying, actually.
There is no food on the table for poor Nigerians. And if you continue like this, one of the worst protests that normally come is the one of hunger. Because what it means is that it's going to push some certain people into crime. And that is one of the things that this government needs to really avoid, so that we can move forward. People are crying, pepper, no way, rice, gari, ewa. It's out of the reach of the poor. Why?
And these are things that the poor can at least ordinarily afford, So that's the same message from, Nuruddin, yes.
For
your message you said for
my message to the president, this committee, this president is a listening president.
Yes, this same committee.
This committee, let it review them. Let Akpabio face his.
You don't want Akpabio.
Let him just go. The speaker let him face. Governor of Kwara State, he have a lot of things to do in Kwara State. People that are not
the people of Otoge are actually complaining.
So people that
Otoge has not helped them.
There are people that want to do the work. There are people that want to do the work. They are there. They want to help this country. So
bring them in.
Bring those people in and let them help you.
They'll do it free of charge.
Then the last one, please. There is no IGP for me. That's supposed to go more than 4 months. If we must solve the insecurity problem in Nigeria.
But people will attack you, Joseph. Is it about changing IGPs? Don't you think there's a structural problem?
When you excuse me, say the reason why I showed this my exit, because 10 people were dying every day. He entered, 12 people were dying. I am bringing you now. If 10 people even die, you are going.
So you think it should put, you know,
should
put them on, put their hands on the grinding stone?
Allow the military to be guarding our border. This Agbaja talking, and let the IGP work. Let him stop speaking grammar. I know he's the PhD holder, but let him bed down. Give marching order to DPO. Give marching order to your CP across the whole state. CP should give marching order to area command. Area commander should give marching order to DPO. Not that they should be go to. I spent good time in Ogba Court. It's just for police to be bringing person. This overnight I've been waiting. You know that magistrate want to leave. Just the rush people, and you are making a correctional center to be
filled up because of the way you bring up cases.
Because why you supposed to go to the bush and pursue those
even cases that are not investigated.
Cases are not investigated, so
bring it to
let's give marching order to the IGP.
Somebody spent over 24 years.
Yes, it was in news
in Kaduna.
Yes,
because of a very terrible case that should not even be in court in the first place. All right, thank you so much, Joseph Folorunshor, for being a part of the show this week. Thank you so much, Barrister Curtis Adigba. Thank you, Nuruddin Adigbin Rabi. Birthday once again to you, Joseph Folorunshor. We wish you all the best as you wish yourself on this special day. My name is Said Fuad. This is where we call it a day on the show Political Roundtable Mainland 98.3 FM. Let's do this again next week.